Hey guys, what's up? We're back from the tactical games in North Carolina this September. I think it was the 21st and 22nd, and it was awesome. Super awesome. All right, so let's talk about this stuff. All right, so tactical games, North Carolina. Like I said, it was epic. It was so cool. Going into this whole thing, I was super intimidated. And big shout out and thanks to Rob for pushing me to actually sign up, because I never would have if he hadn't signed up and if he hadn't talked me into it. And I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did, but I'm also upset that he did, because now I feel like I've been hooked by this bug. And yeah, so I'm already signed up to help out in one of the upcoming games, and then hopefully after that I'll be participating in another one. So it was so freaking cool. It seems like most people that I talk to about this, they've either never heard about it, and once you really start explaining it, they're like, yeah, I'm out of shape, I need to work on this stuff. It's like, yeah, I get it, I really get it, I understand, because I was there, same excuses, same thoughts going through my head. But once you get there and you see it, and you actually do it, you realize you don't have to be in the best top shape of your life. There were people there that were overweight, there were people there that were super skinny, you know, like skinnier than me. I'm skinny, right? But these guys are like very small guys, and they were moving stuff, right? They were picking up things that you wouldn't believe. They were moving these things you wouldn't believe, and it was super motivating. It was super cool. So if those are your excuses, like I need to work out and get stronger, okay, yes, you do need to do that. If you're trying to place, if you're trying to actually be, you know, get a spot on the podium, you know, and win some prizes, then yeah, obviously you're going to have to be in really good shape. But if you want to go there and have fun and push yourself and test yourself, go do it. Like seriously, go do it. Don't do it if you're like, I've never picked up any weight in my life and all I do is sit around and eat Cheetos and watch TV. Okay, yeah, you'll probably pull something if you do that, right? But if you're moderate, if you're healthy and you're normal and you can walk around and pick things up, you'll be fine. Anyway, I don't know where that was going. That was going off on some weird rabbit trail. But it was awesome. Okay, so basically this is the way this is gonna work. This is kind of the intro to my videos on the tactical games. Up to this point, you've seen videos on me prepping for it. Now I'm just going to give you each battle. Okay, so there were 6 battles, 3 battles a day. Except for one, and I'm gonna say this right now, and I'll try not to even mention it again. On the second day, on the morning, we got an email at 10 o'clock at night on the first day, right? So after we went to bed, we got an email telling us that there was an impromptu battle for the elites at 4:30 in the morning on the second day. Well, I was already asleep and I woke up at around 5, so I missed that completely. So technically there were 7 battles for the elites, and I did not get to participate in the ruck thing because I was asleep when we got the notification. I'm not bitter about that at all. I'm just putting it out there. Okay, enough of that. All right, so for everything else, there were 6 battles. Okay, and so 3 battles a day. The 3 on the first day were more or less the longer ones. They took longer periods of time because they knew people are staying anyway for Sunday. So if we had to run late, it made sense to go ahead and run late and do the longer ones on Saturday. And then on Sunday, they were more or less the shorter, more compact battles, which was a very good idea, and it worked out very well. So like I said, I'm gonna break down each battle for y'all and make individual videos on each one of those. Okay, I've seen how some people just conglomerate day 1 and day 2, but I'm really want to try to get as much of this information out there to y'all. So if there's people like me who were looking for videos on these games and want to actually see what happens, then I think this will really help you. And even if I was to give away every single detail of every single battle and every single incident, it would help you. But you have to understand, that's the beauty of these games, is that at each venue, at each different place, you're gonna have a different range. It's gonna be completely different battles, completely different scenarios, different setups, and different way things are done. So you might get, if I gave you all the secrets, whatever, to this North Carolina games for this time in September, well, next time it comes around in September, not in September, next time it comes around in North Carolina, if they go back there again, the games are gonna be different. They don't do the same ones over and over. That's why it's so cool. So basically, I'm going to give you as much information as I can to help you overall prepare for the kinds of games that, you know, the kinds of battles, the kinds of events you're going to see at these things. Does that make any sense, or did I completely just confuse y'all? Probably just confused y'all. That's what we're going to do. Before we go into that, because that's just going to wrap up. This is basically just an intro to all that. But before we go into that, I'm going to say a couple different things about the gear that I used, the rifle that I used. Again, I am going to do a breakdown of this, every single piece and part, for anybody that might be interested in that. And I might just put that over there on Patreon. It might be a Patreon thing for the people over there. But I will talk about that because I've been saying I would and I haven't really. But having a good rifle, okay, and making sure that it is zeroed in with your red dot and with your irons. All right, we were supposed to have one of the battles to be straight up irons. They forgot to brief that to us, so we got to use our red dots, and that was awesome because that was the 220. We ended up shooting 220 yards. Now, what's cool about that, and why I would have been fine either way, I almost wish I'd done irons just to see anyway. Couple weeks before, about a week before we actually went to the games, Rob and I went out to 76 to the range and shot from 220. We didn't know the range, in North Carolina that they're going to be shooting at 220, but the range that we went to at Matt's place, we happened to be at 220. And point of aim, point of impact, pretty much. I needed to favor a little bit left, but that's why you need that's the kind of stuff you need to make sure you know your gun, know your dope, make sure that it's freaking working. Because I had the confidence to know, yes, if I put the red dot on the thing and pull the trigger, it's going to hit it. And with the irons, if I put the irons on the thing, favor left a little bit, like on the left side of the target, and pull the trigger, it's going to do its thing. Knowing that, having that confidence went a long stinking way. All right? But have a good gun that works. A good trigger, I don't know how well it's going to show up in one of the pictures, but at that 220 range, my little body camera that I wore, which I don't know if it's worth $30 or whatever, but I got it off Amazon and it works okay. All right, but on the longer range one, all that the camera got me doing was showing my trigger control, which is actually kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of neat. But anyway, have a good gun and make sure you use it. You know you're dope. Another thing is make sure you have trained with your gear, right? So thankfully, this guy here, the Slickster, the Ferro Concept Slickster, it worked very well for me. I had no issues at all. And I'm super glad that I trained with the other carrier, right? The Rothco. I trained with that until it broke, right? Because I've noticed, I don't know if it was a Rothco, but there was a carrier that looked exactly like mine that was having the exact same problems where the shoulder strap was starting to rip open. Felt bad for the guy, but it was like, you know what? Those are cheap carriers, and if you're going to use it hardcore, it's going to break on you. So I'm glad I trained with it before, and I wasn't just like, I'll just run and lift weights and stuff, and then I'll put the carrier on when it's time to go. No, that wouldn't have been a good idea. But this guy held up really well, and the only possible issue that I could have with this is whenever I tried to go over one of the walls, I think I was wearing this guy. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But in one of the battles, I think it was the second one, we had to climb these stinking huge walls, these concrete walls, and I could grab and I pulled up, and whenever I tried to get over, it was catching kind of on these mags, trying to rip it off, but nothing came off. So quality gear, nothing broke, nothing happened. I was able to get over the wall, and it worked. And you're gonna snag your gear on stuff. That's kind of the point I'm trying to say. You're gonna snag your, stuff's gonna get snagged. And if it's cheap crap, if this had caught and it was a cheap thing and it had ripped off and I got over the wall, but my mags are on the other side of the wall, that would have been a bad day, right? So have some quality equipment. Along with that, some stuff that really did help, having your magazines, right, on your belt line, and having an extra magazine right here. Even though this guy's cheap, you use some Loctite on the screws and it worked just fine. I had my dump pouch. I never used it after seeing Rob have some issues with mags flying out of his dump pouch and seeing some other people have the same issues. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to re-index my mags and stick them in here. And again, that's why you run with your gear and know how it works. These pistol mag pouches, there's no retention on these things. There's no strap that goes over the top. It has a little elastic band on the side that kind of keeps tension. But there's no Kydex on the inside. There's no even place for Kydex inserts on the inside. But you know what? They worked. They worked fine. Never had an issue trying to get the mags out, and not really even an issue trying to get the mags back in. Excuse me. Never even really an issue trying to get the mags back in. It worked fine. Possibly I might change the inner belt on this because this belt might be a little bit of an overkill. Get like a Cobra buckle belt, even just a cheap one. Other than that, though, it was awesome. And running it with the pads off, right, and just the Velcro, and running a Velcro inner belt on my pants, that was good. I never had this thing shift on me. It was awesome, dude. It was very, very good. One last note on gear and training with your gear and all that kind of stuff. My gun never really had any issue. The only issues really ended up being the only real issues on my end ended up being shooting offhanded, and most of those were offhanded supported. So even though it was offhanded, I got to support it with my right hand, which really did help, because shooting offhanded anyway is hard enough, much less when you have less grip anyway. You know, on my hand, I have less grip, and it just makes it a little bit more finicky. But if you can support it, it works fine. But I know with Rob, he had some problems with his rear iron sight just drifting. Like, it was drifting dramatically. And so while we were there standing in line getting ready to go, he was having to like adjust his sights, which is not a good thing when you're shooting pistol shots at like 50 yards sometimes. Not something you want to be doing. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. Look for these videos coming up. I'm going to try to get them. I'm not going to release one every Saturday. That would take forever. I'm going to release them as I can get them out. But there should be 6 battles. We'll do a gear review, an overall gear review midway, just as I taped it. So the first 3 battles, a gear review of what we liked so far, the last 3 battles, and then I'll try to wrap it up at the end with another video for y'all. And then the in-depth video, I think I'll do that stuff probably over on Patreon. The in-depth stuff on the rifle, maybe some more stuff on the gear that I used. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoy that. Look forward to these things. If you are interested in, or look forward to them, that's kind of like telling you to like my stuff. Anyway, if you like it, like it. If you don't like it, whatever, doesn't matter. If you're interested in these games, I highly encourage you just to sign up and do it. Like, it's about $300 to sign up. If you volunteer and then go sign up, my understanding of it is that it's free. I mean, obviously you got to pay for your travel expenses, your food, and your hotel and all that kind of stuff. But the $300, they'll waive that if you volunteer, for a game and then go play a game. That's my understanding of it. That's why I'm going to do the volunteering in Mississippi, Lord willing. But do it, guys. There is few things that in the civilian market, civilian world, that you can actually get out and test yourself. Try your steel. I heard somebody say that, but to test your steel, to see where you rate, how you rate compared to these other people, compared to yourself. How can you push yourself at, what level are you actually at? Very few things in life in the civilian world can you actually go and do that on a physical sense, on a tactical sense. Okay, you can do that in a bunch of other different things. You can do that in the military, you can do it in law enforcement, you can do it in these niche tier 1 club things, whatever. But going to these games, it's an awesome experience to test yourself. It was so cool. And seeing guys that are like, they're in their 50s. From my understanding, I don't know if the guy was 60 that was there, but there are guys in their 50s, 60s that do these things. There are younger guys. I think there are people as young as 15, they said, that have done these games. And there's women that do these games. There are people, like I said, young, old, overweight, skinny, super fit, every aspect that you could really think of. I think I saw most every one of them there, really. And so don't let it be an excuse of, oh, I need to like exercise and stuff. Yes, you do need to exercise. But if this is your niche, if this is something that you like to do, right, then go do it. Just set the time aside, set the money aside, and go do it. And you will not regret it. It is completely awesome. All right, enough talking. Look for this stuff coming up if you want to. If you don't want to, whatever. And that's it. All right, y'all be good to be safe, and we will catch y'all in the next video.